Hello, friends, colleagues, clients, and trespassers. Welcome to Coach2Coach, the show where the world of coaching opens up to you, our listeners. I'm Laurie Schloff, executive communication coach over too many decades. Coach2Coach aims to inform, teach, entertain, provoke, amuse, all in a 15-minute time period. We coaches can do it all. Each episode features a coach supreme, someone who is changing the world, one coachee at a time. I am so thrilled to have one of my favorite coaches in our studio, communication and presence coach, Hava Horowitz. So today, what we're going to do is to go behind the coaching curtain to explore the mystery of the first meeting that you have with a communication coach. So Hava, welcome to Coach2Coach. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Laurie. Great to be here.
I am so happy to see you again. You look very familiar to me.
Yeah, right. It's like I've seen you before.
I think we've met before.
Once or twice.
So, let's talk about the first meeting. That's a very exciting time, a very important time where both the coach and the coachee kind of decide if they want to work together. Some people say whether or not the fit is good. So from the coach's point of view, what do you feel you're trying to accomplish or get across in the first meeting?
Yeah, people are coming to us because they want to walk away different than they came in. That is the unifying theme of everyone who goes into a coaching session or into a coaching program, is that they want to change in some particular way. And so really in that first section or that first session, I'm trying to clarify the need.
Okay.
Why do they want to change? What is at risk if they do not change? How high are the stakes related to the change? And also clarify timing. Why now?
Yeah.
Why is now the time to change?
Do you feel in terms of going behind the coaching curtain, do you feel that, I don't know, I feel like as a coach, sometimes the first meeting is important because I feel like I am putting a certain kind of energy into it because I really want to adjust to that person, to make that person comfortable with me. And some people might be nervous. Do you feel that kind of sort of adrenaline rush maybe in a positive way?
Absolutely. I mean, I think each individual we see is very different from one another, and it likely elicits a different part of ourselves as coaches. And so sometimes, we're getting reached out via LinkedIn, via email. We've never even met this person. We don't know how this interaction is going to go. And I think it makes so much sense that before an interaction with a near stranger at that point, that some butterflies might emerge, like a first date. You don't know who is going to be in front of you in that coaching session.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting because for successful coaches, most of the time, the connection is good. So what is it that we are doing? In other words, do you feel like you adjust to different people? Everyone we meet is so different from the next person that we'll meet. What do we do that allows us to be, successful with a lot of people in terms of that initial bond?
Yeah. And I think that is the hallmark of a great coach, of a great listener, of a great teacher, of a great facilitator, is that we adapt to meet the needs of our audience, right? So there's some folks that I work with who are really excited by this idea of having a curriculum. They really like the structure. And so in that initial session, I propose what I call a living curriculum, which is the arc of how our 9 sessions would work together. I typically work in 9 session packages. Other folks, you can really tell from that first meeting that they're really excited to just coach around whatever is alive in that moment, whatever happened that week. Other people get into the coaching session and they're really waiting for me to take the reins. and they want me to direct. And I think you can get a sense of that even in that first session. How much is this person excited about workshopping these even micro happenings that are going on in their lives? And how much do people really, or some other folks really want to get a body of material that they
a lot of content. Yeah.
Yes. What about you? How do you
It's so
adapt or
interesting to
learn?
me. I sort of love the experience of listening deeply. I feel like I'm being engaged to hear what this person's universe is like,
Right.
and to validate it. I am very aware, because I do have observations and opinions. I am very aware of going gently.
Right.
I'm trying to be a little more gentle than I might be if I really knew the person well, in terms of what they might want to work on. And of course, sometimes, not all the time, because usually people know what they want to work on, there might be a gap between what somebody says they want to work on and what you're observing. So, for example, let's say someone says they want to work on their organization, but you notice that their delivery, how they look and sound, seems to be the key issue. But I think, people are vulnerable.
Sure.
And I think we coaches do so much to make a person feel so good. That now that I think about it, that's my goal. Have a person feel really good about our first meeting.
And what does feeling good mean to you? Does it mean feeling good about themselves? Does it mean feeling optimistic about the potential for progress? Does it mean feeling like they have a trusted partner? What does that actually mean for you?
Well, I think it means that they kind of leave on a little bit of a high, in the sense of Hava. I like her, and darn, she knows what she's talking about. And now, what am I bringing in? The different methods of persuasion. The logical side of the client is saying she knows what she's talking about, and the emotional side says, I like her. I really feel those two ingredients have got to be there. Both of those things. Because you could say, I like her, but I'm not so sure she knows how to help me. Or she's smart, but she's cold.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is onto something. Is how do we acknowledge and validate the person's experience, as well, get some insight into their goals. That's really my primary focus of the first session, is like, how can I truly understand their landscape of goals and who they are as a person, so I can start to map out the best path to achieve those goals. But I like what you're saying is also walking away from the session with a trick, a technique, something that they can implement immediately.
I love that. I love that. You can't get too deep, but you can give, for example, let's say someone's nervous, an easy to use breathing technique.
Right.
You can send them a handout afterwards. I like to show that I care too. So it's such a personal relationship. Sometimes really, really deep. So I think we're talking a little bit about the coaching process here. Let's talk a little bit about the content. I have, with all these years, I'm doing a lot of training of new coaches. So I've had to analyze what is it that I actually do during the first session in terms of topic areas. But first, why don't you go? What are some of the common topics that you will bring up with a client?
Yeah. So I always initiate the first session and every session with what I call an exercise to cross the threshold. And that is an exercise that parks whatever email, whatever meeting they were just in, whatever family problem is just going on, and crosses the threshold into the coaching container, into our time together. And typically in that first session, I do the fundamentals of breathing with them. Oftentimes my clients have had some experience with meditation and breath work, but sometimes not. And so we start to develop a relationship with the breath that will serve as a foundation for all of the material that we will dive into throughout the rest of our time together. So I spend about 10 to 15 minutes in that first session with just that.
Wow.
And then spend the next really, 30 to 40 minutes, first of all, presenting what I have identified as their living curriculum, what will be the arc of the 9 sessions for them. And I have taken that from the discovery call, which is actually before this first session. I present that to them. I ask them, is there anything that's missing here? Are there anything you want more of? Is there anything that's really exciting you? Is there anything that's kind of repelling you from what I've proposed here? And so I get a lot of insight from like, oh, what are they drawn to? What are they afraid of? That's also a great thing, because oftentimes the part they're like, oh, I'm scared about that section. Can we punt that till later? That's often the place where they really need to go and spend time on. And then I really spend a lot of time on, okay, it's 3 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beginning of May. We see the buds on trees. Snow is dry. The sun is setting at 5:30 p.m., not 4 p.m. What's different? What's different for you?
Yeah. You know what I love, and I actually didn't know you did this. I now get the threshold piece. In other words, in order for you feel, your philosophy is in order for them to get the most out of this session, being in a certain frame, I guess, or feeling state.
Absolutely.
And plus you are teaching them something, literally at the beginning.
And it also, and I do this in my workshops, I say, what is presence? The number one thing presence is presence is contagious. So let's take this opportunity for 2 minutes, like we just did, Laurie. You and I just did this before we just hopped on this recording, is we closed everything. We put our phones away. We got comfortable in our chairs. And we start to activate the breath to arrive at presence within ourselves and with each other. So absolutely, it's exactly as you said, to get the most out of the session, we actually need to devote those beginning moments to self-connection.
Yeah. And it's funny, and again, we've learned similar things, but you've also learned a lot of different things than me. I just feel with a lot of my clients, I couldn't engage them in that. I'm very, I guess, a difference between you and me is I'm very cognitive, meaning I ask them logical things. What are your strengths? What are your challenges? What are the situations that you're in? Your communication universe, so to speak. What feedback have you received from others? So there's something about it that's, it's interactive, but it's yours is a little bit more, I guess, soulful. And I feel like some of my clients might look at me funny, but maybe that's my problem. I think we can learn from each other.
Sure. And I've learned a lot from you. And depending on who I'm working with, that section flexes and shrinks or grows. And I learned that really over time. And also in that beginning session, I often ask, what's your comfort with meditation, breath work? Is that something that interests you?
Oh, okay. Right. So you get their permission, which is
yes,
very important.
Yes.
So I bet you a lot of listeners are wondering, well, is there any type of person you don't click with, or has that ever happened to you, or have you ever made any mistake that way? I think because I have a tendency to want to share knowledge, there may have been, a few times in my career, of course, not very often, where maybe I was too didactic, doing a little too much teaching when I should have done a little more listening. I would say, if I had to say a fatal flaw that might have sunk me a couple of times, it would be that. Is there any type of new client you may not click with?
Well, at the point where we're beginning the sessions, folks have already made a financial investment and a commitment to doing the work. At the discovery call, certainly, it's definitely not 100% conversion from discovery call to working together and booking a session for a variety of reasons. But the thing that I have sometimes had to nudge folks towards is, okay, where are we applying this material? Like this material is great. This content is great. I've proposed this arc for you that's based off your goals that you've stated, but let's make sure that we're consciously and frequently making that link between the material we're learning and what's actually happening. And when that doesn't happen, sometimes clients can be like, why are we learning this? Is this relevant to me? So I have to actively put in the effort to make those conscious links.
Gosh, okay. And of course, personality wise, I mean, in general, communication coaches are kind of out there. So
Right.
another thing, do you ever have to do, I sometimes do have to tone down, literally.
Sure.
Okay. You know me personally, so you know sometimes that's something I have to do in my personal life too.
Especially when we're in the car.
When I get, yeah, oh my God, I'm the worst.
Know your setting, right?
I am the worst loud passenger. Whenever there's car noise, and Hava always says, "Ah." All right, so let's do a couple of quickies. I love the one about where would you want to be in 3 months. I really want you to ask me that because I think that's so cool. But yeah, do it again how you say it to a client.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'll be the client.
So Laurie, would love you to get in your comfortable meditation posture. Your sitting bones connected with your chair. You can roll the shoulders forward and up and back and down. Chin is parallel to the floor. Imagine a light fluttering of your eyes. And begin to consciously activate your breath. Perhaps it's the first conscious breath you've taken all day. And without judgment, name one quality of your breath as it is right now.
Soft.
Soft. And Laurie, as you continue breathing, I'm going to lead you on a visualization exercise.
It's Hava, it's Laurie. Just time-wise, this was so outstanding, but I think we have to.
Oh, sure. I noticed we're at 18 minutes from 3 minutes over.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah, okay. It's not exactly a quickie.
No, it was amazing. I actually found it within 60 seconds. Anyway, so a question. I'll now be the coach. Okay.
Yes.
So Hava, I'm so excited about working with you. Can you tell me a way you'd like to feel and maybe a situation you'd like to be in at the end of our coaching experience, let's say in about 3 months?
Yeah, I want to feel more comfortable with showing up on social media with regularity.
Do you mean video? Yeah.
I'm hoping to determine that in our coaching.
Okay, because we had said that might be one of our goals. So what you'd like to do is to feel more comfortable, whether it's video or some other way of presenting yourself. You'd like to feel more comfortable in 3 months. Okay, and now I'm now Laurie talking to our listeners, which is it's one of the best things a coach can do. We're going to end on this note, is helping you to see, to actually feel, to experience what it might be like on your coaching journey, and at the end of the journey, what do you want to feel like? And I think that's probably something both you and I do, even though our approaches might be different. So as Hava, it was great seeing you. I hope I see you again soon. Maybe you'll come to Florida, because I ain't coming to Boston in the winter.
Yeah, no, not now.
That is a fact. So everyone, feeling comfortable, feeling confident in the situation is something that we all aspire to. I encourage you to think about communication coaching. And as you can see, coaches are so determined to help you to feel very comfortable during the first meeting. So keep on coaching, everybody. See you next time on Coach to Coach. Bye for now.
Bye, thank you.